Welcome, everybody. We are super excited to have you back with us again for one of our mortgage minutes. And I am extremely grateful that I'm able to have Marc Trejo here with Sun Mortgage. And he and I are going to have this great conversation today about down payments and how do we get them?
Lots of fun.
Where do they come from?
Everyone loves the down payment conversation.
I know, right? Everybody loves talking about down payments. So
oh yeah.
That's what
How
we're
going to
talk
pay
about
for
a little bit today. Yeah. So anyway, you guys are probably, hopefully, you've been watching our Mortgage Minute segment throughout the year. And so you should be familiar with Marc now. He's one of our preferred lenders. Again, he's with Sun American Mortgage, and I'll have him give you all of his contact information at the end of this, so that if you have any other questions, you can reach out to him and ask him directly. But we just wanted to get you guys kind of thinking and ready for next year. And of course, that first thing that we've got to have for you to be thinking about and getting ready for is your down payment. So Marc, you and I were talking previously a little bit. There's a few different places where people can get their down payment, right?
Sure.
Okay, so I know that there's grant money. So let's talk first about grant money, because of course everybody's like, free money.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that one first. Tell us the ins and the outs of that real quick.
Well, obviously, nothing's ever free, and the grant money is definitely the case. And so there's three negatives related to the grant money. Well, the positive is you can get up to a 5% grant, essentially, which it starts as a second lien and it ends up being a forgivable grant money if you follow their restrictions, and the restrictions are pretty heavy in that regard. And so you get up to 5%. That covers your 3 to 3.5% down payment, and then essentially it covers their fees that get added into closing costs.
Awesome.
So it's not a zero down program. There's really, without seller concessions, without some of those other things, it's not zero down. So you still need somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,000 to $6,000, depending on your home, the property taxes, the HOAs, all that kind of stuff that goes into closing costs. And that's a different conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the three negatives related to the grant are, it's a higher interest rate. Right now, it's more than 1% higher.
Oh.
And so your monthly payment takes a hit. And they tie you to that for 3 years. For that grant to be forgivable, you have to stay in that home without refinancing, without selling, without doing anything like that, at that higher rate for 3 years. Then it's forgivable. Essentially, 1/36 of it is forgiven each month. So within that first 3 years, if you do anything, then you owe what hasn't been forgiven.
Gotcha.
And and then the closing costs are extremely high with the grant program. You're going to come in basically with the same amount of closing costs as a normal purchase or refinance, because the grant money covers their fees, the leftover from the down payment. And so you're still looking at that price range. And so there are some costs associated with doing a grant program. Now, it has some good and it has its place. It gets people into a house if they have no way of coming up with a down payment otherwise. And so it has its place if those three things fit into your budget and fit into your plan. You can gain a lot in equity by having a home. If it's going to take you 5 years to save a down payment, it's worth getting into a house. But if you have other alternatives, the grant program is not one I recommend. I always go with the other alternatives first.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the great thing about working with a lender or somebody like Marc is that they can actually run side-by-side comparisons and show you, like, okay, look, here's what it would look like if we went with this program. Here's what it would look like if we went with this program. Here's what it would look like with this program. So definitely we want to start this conversation earlier rather than later, because if there's even just a couple little things that you can tweak and increase your credit score or do this or do that, it might qualify you for a different loan program that is way, way, way better. So better to start this conversation way in advance rather than, hey, we're ready right now, let's go. Because then we don't really have time to fix that.
The most popular down payment assistance program in Arizona is Home Plus, most likely. That's the one I use most often. It has a lot of different options. So you can do some research on that. Just Google Home Plus and you'll be able to look at the basics, and then yes, a conversation with me or someone else would be worthwhile.
Awesome. Okay, so let's say now, Mark, let's kind of move on to the next thing. Let's say, okay, I don't really have saved up 3.5%, 5%, 10%, or heaven forbid, 20%. I
Sure.
don't have that in an account where I can just cash it out and liquidate it. What other options might we have? I've heard about people utilizing their 401ks for something
Sure.
like this. So tell us how that works.
Right. And so, 401k specifically, that I have had people do that. I mean, that's just your personal opinion. And I'd work with an accountant on the impact of the tax penalties and those types of things, depending on your age and everything and your income situation. But yes, people have borrowed against their 401k. They've cashed out their 401k. Every 401k is different. So every company that holds your 401k is different, and they have different standards on what you can and can't do. Some won't let you cash it out, but they'll let you borrow against it. And then you pay it back through a loan process. And so there are people that want to do that. If that's their only way, they can look into doing it. The best thing to do is look at your rules and regulations with your 401k company, as far as, can you borrow against it? Can you cash it out? What are my options there? From a lending standpoint, there's nothing black and white that says this is how it is, this is what we have to do. It really depends on the rules and regulations from the 401k company.
Awesome.
Gift money, outside of someone coming in with their own down payment, gift money is the most popular one. That's the one that I get most often, and that's the cleanest one outside of just your own money. Basically, it has to come from a family member. And there's not a lot of verification, to be surprisingly, in doing it. It's just a signed gift letter, okay, and then that family member wiring the money directly to the title company from the account on the gift letter. And so
what I'm hearing you say is, mom and dad, don't just go stick it in your kid's account. There's a way we got to do this.
Right. And especially when it comes to like FHA, if you want to limit the paperwork and if you want to limit the invasion of privacy on the donor, the best and easiest way is for the donor to wire the money directly to the title company, the family member to wire the money directly to the title company. That's a clean, then we use the gift letter, we verify that the money came from the right account and it matches, and that's all we're required to do on a conventional loan. FHA is a little different. There's a bank statement involved, but nothing over the top that's extremely invasive in sourcing and all that kind of stuff. And so,
awesome.
But it's got to be a gift.
Like a dollar limit on that? Can they do all the way up to like 20%, or is there
yeah.
on how much?
No, you can absolutely do up to 20%, and there's different scenarios where minimum contributions come into play, but it can be anywhere from $5 to 20% to half the purchase price of the home. I mean, there's really no limit at this point as we sit here.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really awesome. Okay, so you guys, we've talked about 3 different kind of ways that you can come up with a down payment that's not the normal I saved it up. All right, so we've talked about the grant programs that are currently still in play. And we have lots of people who use those. So yes, it is usually a higher interest rate,
right,
higher payment. But again, it's a good option if you're willing and you're planning on staying in that house for 3 years, and and the monthly payment fits within your budget. So it is a good option. There's that option. The second option, of course, is 401k money. And then and we want to start talking about that early, because sometimes that transfer from your 401k and making all that work takes a little bit longer than we all might be expecting. And of course, there's certain timelines in the real estate transaction. So let's start working on that earlier than later as well. And then our third option is the gift money from a family member.
Sure.
So it does have to be blood family, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Correct.
So any last words you would want to share with these guys on any of these options that we just gave them?
The biggest, you've already hit on it before, the biggest thing when it comes to down payment is planning ahead. We all know at some point in time we want to buy a home, and so, or we want to get into a different home. And so, like with everything financial, it just takes starting as soon as you can. And whether it's saving on your own, whether it's putting into place a gift, whether it's a 401k, it really just takes starting that first step. And there's no magic. There's no magic way of getting around it. It is what it is. The math is the math. And so you just have to prepare for it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you guys, this video is actually coming out in December of 2020. So the last month of 2020. And one of the reasons that Marc, I know, can you, we're almost through this year, but we're hoping that this will live evergreen forever, because this is important content no matter what. But the reason we wanted to talk to you guys about this at the end of the year is if you were thinking about making a purchase in 2021 with the incredible interest rates that we're having right now, we want you to go ahead and start preparing for that as soon as possible. So of course, my preparation for you is going to be to send you over to Marc or to another lender and have you guys have a conversation with them to just see where you're at right now and what needs to happen for you to be in the best possible situation to purchase a home, and then to start making these decisions so that you can prepare for how you're going to do this. So I wanted to throw this out to you guys at the end of the year so that you, as you're thinking about your 2021 goals and your dreams and your plans, know the right course of action to take as you're preparing for this. So as always, I'm going to recommend to you Marc or any one of our preferred lenders, but today it is absolutely Marc. So let's, Marc, tell us how they can best get in touch with you today.
Best is just to call or text my cell phone, and that's 602-743-4885. Thank you.
You guys, having a conversation with Marc is just going to be so enlightening for you. It's going to be so helpful. It's going to take what sometimes looks like a totally overwhelming, daunting, I'm never going to get there task, and makes it, gives you a plan and a step-by-step, here's what we got to do, and here's the time frame, and it really lays it out for you. So I'm really going to recommend that you guys, I don't care if you think you're a year out, start having that conversation with Marc and let's start at least making a plan. Okay, so Marc, one more time, phone number.
602-743-4885.
Wonderful. And of course, if you didn't write that down, if you can't remember, you guys can always go to our website. We have our preferred vendors list there. If you go under lenders, you're going to find Marc and all of his contact information right there as well. So our website, super easy, www.living8realestate.com. Okay, and that'll get you there. So you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. We wish you the happiest of holidays. And again, we hope you watch this anytime throughout the year, but we are recording this in December. So happiest of holidays. Be safe, be healthy, and we cannot wait to see what wonderful things await you and all of us, hopefully, in 2021. So thanks again for joining us on this video, and we will catch you on our next Mortgage Minute.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.